Welcome to Monarchist Minute. Royalist news and discussion out of the good old US of A. Not just any Monarchist Minute. Today, we are joined by Victor Smith, Joe, Santiago Riviera, Bubba, okay, said that right, and William. Today is Monarchist Minute 100. Today, we celebrate the hard work and accomplishment over 2 years of our gathering together on a Discord server on Friday. Over these past 2 years and a few weeks, we have discussed many and varied topics. We have reviewed movies. We have laughed. We have cried. I have censored. Over, I don't know, it must be over, 200 gigabytes of Monarchist Minute has gone through my computer, most of which is now deleted except for what's on YouTube. But to celebrate this achievement is what we are going to do primarily today. But first, I must give you some bad news. This will be the last episode of Monarchist Minute that we record in mid-September 2023. There we go. That's the bad news that I was telling you.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You made such a big
That's
deal.
a better bad news,
Get off
dude.
the stage.
You had me
Better bad news.
flipping out on the other side that something was very, very wrong. I was genuinely concerned. And this is what you do?
I gave you a warning. It's a
Now
consequence of
take
how
a
linear time
timestamp because
works.
you're gonna need to censor something here.
We lost our cookie privileges.
I
There
deserve
goes our
that.
cookie privileges, William.
No more cookies, Will.
Okay. Order. I will have order in my court.
Alright, I'm sorry. Like I said, take a timestamp note, censor that. I just had to say that.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't expect such a visceral reaction to that, but our first episode was recorded on uploaded rather, on the 23rd of August, 2021. This was when Trump, was just out of office. Biden was, doing his thing. This was right before or right during this was during our Afghan adventure coming to its end, and the man who would lecture us on, gun control, accidentally donating 300,000 guns to the Taliban. This is the context. This is the stage. And surely politics and American society in general would not get crazier as the years progressed. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Throughout the years, we have covered topics. We haven't covered those fake aliens from Mexico/Peru yet, but we've covered some interesting stuff, and a lot of it is just us reacting to the news. So, I'm going to go through the list, and I want you all to tell me something, the weirdest and wackiest thing that, you want to bring up that we've done thus far on Monarchist Minute, news or otherwise. Vic. This is off the cuff, by the way.
Of course. The wackiest thing that I remember us doing was having a full-blown conversation for over an hour about trains and ships.
Yeah.
When was that?
I was there, and I can't tell you.
Well, of course you were there because who
Yeah,
else would talk about trains for
Trains
now?
are your
Okay,
special
full
interest.
confession, most of these videos just kind of blend into, like, I can distinguish certain topics from certain episodes, but a lot of these really do just blend together. It really, especially like those first 5, episodes where our background was literally just a 1920 by 180 like white MS Paint background, and then the old Moa
For
cockade.
me.
I didn't know any better. Will the background that we were using until 94, which was made by Camilla. So say hi to Camilla, who's in our
Welcome,
speaking
Camilla.
right now.
Hello, thank you.
Yes. So until that background, the one that we used for 87, no, 80, 88 episodes. That background was made by Will. And Will, I need to ask, do you still have that somewhere on your hard drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay, could you send it to me because I accidentally wiped my hard drive and like I just want it for a keepsake because I'm not, it's
I
just it
got it.
defines who I am. Anyways,
Yeah,
Also,
that
I have to say, with the new background, you should probably include someone else's face on the question mark.
yeah,
Noted. I
Camilla and
have
I
been
need to
working on that for a while.
work out who because we really do
vote
need a few more
me.
variations of that. There's only 2 right now.
Vote
But
me.
no, so the thing is these episodes blend together. Um but yeah, do you remember roughly when, Vic, we had that conversation about was it trains and planes and automobiles? Was that like this year or last
I think
year
it
or
was. I think it was an episode that Darth had joined us, and the two of you went on a whole tangent about trains and ships. And I must confess, I kind of
Um,
zoned out and just let the two of you talk.
I
I
remember.
honestly, that brings back memories because I would remember when Johnny was still a frequenter of the podcast, and John and Darth would get in these really long-winded theological conversations that could go on for 2 hours straight, and about 30 minutes
Well,
in, it would be so perfectly back and forth that you couldn't muscle in a word. So I would just pull up Minesweeper on my computer and literally play Minesweeper until they were done.
in fairness, I also joined in on those. Those were
those are hilarious.
those were the
I went
days.
I went back and listened to them because I was listening to the early stuff, and oh, they're funny. I remember actually there was a more recent conversation where we were talking about interests, and it started off with Star Wars, and then I think we did 40K, and then it spiraled off into craziness. You talking about trains and weird gauges and things that even my grandpa probably doesn't know about, and he's big into trains.
I remember, I forget what premise the conversation, but one time we got into an argument about which version of Thomas the Train was best.
Obviously the original, and if you tell me otherwise, you're wrong and a Republican.
Okay, but which original?
Thomas
Okay.
the Tank Engine.
That was not the original. The Railway series books are the original.
Okay,
You
TV show
anti-Audrey
wise.
unpurist, depurist.
Oh, okay. Okay, Chuck. If you want to say that. Another fond memory I have is well, the first fond memory I'm sharing because somebody else was sharing. Either way, a fond memory I have is when we went and this was my first and only Christmas on the podcast, and we went and discussed Christmas books and stories and other such things. And you talked about your love-hate relationship with Lewis Carroll, I believe. Or it might have
Me?
been someone else. No, not Lewis Carroll. It was the dude who wrote why am I thinking Lewis Carroll? No,
I don't know.
He wrote Alice in Wonderland. That I've been reading that for a class. No, it was your love-hate relationship with I think it was Dickens because he
Y-
wrote the Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I mean, to give you my 2 cents for the audience, Dickens gets human characters about as perfect as you can for just pure, human standards. But his take on the French Revolution kind of cringe. But A Tale of Two Cities, I would still say, is a very good book in that the human element is is really like if you don't cry, what's wrong with you? And I'm a very
Yeah.
stone faced person. I don't really get
Mm.
emotional that easily. Um,
Another. Well, there was one time you got fairly emotional. Um, it was during one of actually this was like the third episode that came out after I joined MOA. Because I was on it. And I didn't get to speak much during it because it was you and Humbo arguing for like an hour and a half about abortion.
uh, humble,
I
humble.
remember that. I remember that very vividly, and it was very
Unproductive.
nauseating. It was nauseating.
It was one of the exchanges of all time, but and then that leads me into my third and most prominent memory of this show, the one that Chuck was fearing before we began. I remember we did an episode, and I made a joke, and everyone busted up laughing. It was the peak of my comedy career. But then someone cussed, so I had to say the joke over again because Chuck asked me to for the recording, and none of you laughed. So the way Charles cut it, it just made it sound like I said the joke, and no one laughed for 3 seconds straight, and then the episode continued. You made me look so
Do you
unfunny.
remember what the joke was?
No, but it was good, and I need to find it. I know the episode it was on too because I watched it all the way through, and it's marked that on my phone.
Was
I'm
it
gonna
the
go
one with
watch
the
it.
haircuts?
I remember.
No, no.
In one of the earlier episodes, right after the war in Ukraine started, Darth and I got into a really top-down, drag-out argument because he started making low-key anti-Semitic comments about Zelensky, and I wasn't having it on the podcast.
If you could find that joke, I'm still not used to calling you Santiago Riviera, but if you
Oh,
could,
oh.
You need to learn to pronounce that. Rivera.
Rivera.
Why don't we just keep calling him Trad? He's
I
known
don't
as
know if
Trad.
Francisco Franco and Primero Riviera were here. I don't know.
But Victor
Oh
just
boy.
brought up
Anyway,
something.
look, Francisco in this podcast, Francisco Franco is a hero. But Trad, if
Oh,
you could find, don't argue with me, Willie. You're already on thin ice as
no,
it is.
no, I have a memory.
Okay, but I was gonna just say, Trad, if you could find that joke, and
I
it's
will
like
do
good
that
as a
now.
text joke, I'll send it to me and I'll put it in the description
Now,
below.
Charles,
Yes.
do you remember one time, I believe it was the day when we sat down and had our official economics debate where we talked about the difference between guilds and unions?
I
And
was
you
so naive then.
and you remember what you told when we were talking about me being
Oh
in a
no,
guild?
let's not go there. I
No,
had to
let's
no
go
no no
there.
no 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 no. I
Let's
had
talk
to
Okay.
about
start.
the Screwing Guild.
Did you
Let's
just
talk
say it?
about. Yes, I did. Let's talk about the Screwing
Ah,
Guild. It's
I had
not
to.
bad.
No,
Okay,
no, no,
so
no. You do not understand how much effort I had to go through listening to my terrible recorded voice over and over to try and find that joke. I hate listen. Okay, full confession, full disclosure, whatever the heck it's called. I hate listening to this show. I hate it. I hate having
honestly,
to listen to it in the editing bay is bad enough, but having to listen to it to find something that I missed over and over because I was dumb enough not to delete it the first time. I hate it. Dang, those like two bites of fish sticks really are making me feel
okay,
better. I'm
so
gonna lose all my energy.
anyway, and for those of you who don't know, I work in a factory and I work assembly, and so what I do is I
Don't
shoot
make me
screw
remove
guards.
more, Will.
Well, and so when Charles was talking about the different guilds I would be a part of, he mentioned that I would be a part of. In his complete naivety, Chuck being Chuck, he said I would be in the Screwing Guild. Now, now,
Okay, laugh.
anyone, anyone who is older than 13 is not going to sit there and hear the word Screwing Guild and not run with it.
Chuck, no!
I,
You know!
And of
How would you
course,
Chuck
do
was the
that?
most pious
Chuck,
out of all of us.
being our resident scruple, our beloved scrupulous friend,
Can
could
we
not
please,
forgive
please,
himself for letting me
please, hold
take
on,
that and run with it.
please, can we like name Chuck for a week headmaster of the Screwing
No,
Guild?
please.
Please.
Oh,
You know
Oh
how
yeah,
hard
no.
you
I
are
second
making
that
my
yeah,
job
motion.
right now if
yeah.
I want to edit this out.
As I mentioned, the book
What
Wait,
is
wait,
Let me
what do
wait,
you
is
wait.
guys
ugly
have
word.
against me? Like really?
No, that was funny, Chuck. I had to laugh.
Wait,
Chuck.
no, I can do this. I can make the roll and give it to him.
No, please
Yeah.
don't. You don't have.
Please do it.
You
I
have
Do
might
the.
it.
do
You
it.
don't have the authority, actually.
Actually, I do.
No. You have the power. You don't have the authority.
Well, then I give him the authority.
No, you don't.
Okay,
You
Chuck.
have no. You have
Well,
like no power and no authority. You're kind of like the worst of both worlds, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
Chuck, you asked what I have against you. I can give you an honest opinion what I have against you.
Okay.
This is going back to the podcast, going back on topic of memory of the podcast. When I first started listening to this podcast, I was questioning monarchism, and I was a firm Baptist.
hmm
Now, a little under a year later, I am halfway through questioning my faith, and I'm a firm monarchist. So because of you, you
Yay.
started me on that journey. That's what I have against you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Let's go.
Everyone-
That is the best reaction to what Bubba just said there, Chuck. That is the best reaction.
All right. On another note, everyone check Friday podcast text chat.
You made the roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, another iconic crutch. If really though, if we have helped you become a monarchist, then send me money on PayPal. No.
Uh,
How? If I wanted to be a shill, how good of a shill do you guys think I would be?
How about 6 out of 4?
Because I don't. My ideas, my voice, my positions are not for sale, but I do rent at very reasonable rates.
No CODs, everyone. To those of you that are wondering, sorry, no CODs.
Yeah, no CODs.
And
You have to.
operators are standing by.
If you want to buy me as your party or personal mouthpiece, then all you had to do is send your check to 123 Fake Street, Flint, Michigan,
Or send it,
48509.
or you can
But
send a
that's not
cheaper
my
one to
actual
me,
area
or
code,
you can
so
send,
I don't even know
or,
if the 48509 area
or,
code is even in Flint, Michigan. Hold on.
or you can send a cheaper one to me, and I'll do it because I sound just like him.
And speaking of the
Okay,
reference that I just
48509 is Burton, so I definitely don't live there. Please don't go to Burton.
speaking of, I hope you guys caught the reference to Off the Menu. So now we're going to talk about our favorite guests that we've had on the podcast. We have had two very high profile guests on this show, Charles Coulomb and J.K. Baltzuzin.
Both of which, unfortunately, I was not here for.
Well,
So
look,
sad.
don't worry. We'll get you to talk to
I do wish to speak to Mr. Coulomb because
the
he's
CC.
seriously.
I gotta say, my favorite part about speaking to Colomb is after we did the podcast, he stayed on the line with us for 2 hours just to
talk with us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
It was great.
the best thing. Okay, this is the thing, and I so wish we were recording because we were somehow the topic of JFK came up, and we were talking about the different conspiracies, and he gets up here. He says he's about to say the truth. He says, and the government. He winds himself up. The government can't silence me. And right as he is about to say it, he freezes for like 20 solid seconds, and we all laugh. He didn't even know because like he probably wasn't getting us either because we never figured out what he said. Like we don't know what he said. That's lost in the ether. His theory is lost in the ether, and he tried to retell us it. He's probably going to get shot by the CIA's local Austrian operative. I mean,
Mr. Coulomb seems like a very fun gentleman to hang around, and I would love to talk to him on an episode and get to know him because he's always out there promoting our cause, and he's actually visible to the wide majority of the American public. So it'd be great to speak with him.
He and Victor really hit it off because they ended up both being from a similar part of Maryland.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, to be fair, all of Maryland is like swamp, so.
I,
And
look,
he also
Vic,
jumped
I
on the
drove through.
bandwagon of
I
Okay,
can kind of
okay.
confirm.
Hold
Actually,
on.
though,
It's either swamp or gang violence.
I will
actually
not.
though, I can speak to this, right?
No,
So,
no. The swamp is Southern Maryland.
okay, well, actually, I can't speak to this, right? So we went to my cousin's wedding a few weeks ago. You know, that's the same time that the J.K. Balcherson episode was there, which is why I wasn't there because we were driving down at the same time we were recording. And we Dad and I drove separate back to and fro. Actually, my mom drove with my sister. And we wound up, Google Maps took us off the expressway for like a couple of hours before we linked back up to another e-way. And we ended up on this road in West Virginia called the Paw Paw Road. That's what it is called. It's called the Paw Paw Road. And this road, it must be a pain in winter, but this is like a beautiful road. It's well paved, but it like swerves and does all these curves, and you get to see this beautiful scenery. There's this bridge that's so narrow it's a one way. I have a couple pictures of it, but it's really old. It probably hasn't been maintained in 100 years, except for like the physical road on top of it. Like it, and then you have this great time, hills and all that, and then you get into Maryland, and then it just becomes another road. Eh, Maryland killed the Paw Paw Road. I'm sorry. It is how it is. So I mean, okay, that's kind of unfair. It was still a fun road, but it wasn't like it was in West Virginia. So the moral of the story is, I don't know how the Democrats can be blamed for this, but I'm blaming the Democrats for this. So yeah. I don't know what any of this has to do with the podcast except tangentially, but yeah.
Stuff and things.
So wait a second. I wanted to bring this back up.
Okay.
Will, you said you made the claim that Mr. Colomb and I hit it off well because we were from similar part of Maryland. That is untrue. Mr. Colomb is actually from, I believe, Massachusetts or New York.
Well,
New
I
York.
forget where it was. Maybe it wasn't that he was from there, but he was familiar with somewhere, and you two really hit it off from there because you sang that crab song, the Crabs for Christmas.
Oh, right, yes, the Crabs for Christmas song. So, yeah, he actually referenced the parish I go to as a place he's very fond of.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
New York, Maryland, both are north of the Potomac, both are mute.
Hmm.
Do you want to sing the Richmond, north of Richmond song?
Oh boy.
Actually, speaking of New York, I would like to make this brief announcement since we are not going to be recording next week, which is September the 22nd, is that I will be on the show on the 29th, but will not be on the show the next week after, because or the 13th, because I will be in Italy. On the 13th specifically, I will be flying back home while the podcast is being recorded. I'll be flying back home, so I will obviously not be recording a podcast on an airplane.
Make sure your arms don't get tired.
Yeah.
So I will be in New York for a few hours on I believe it's October the 3rd. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have said that.
Well, we can work out the scheduling later, or for the scheduling later. But before we continue back to the podcast, why do you never want to be on a plane with Ben Shapiro?
Oh, Ben Shapiro, such a funny character.
Yeah, because he'll destroy the left wing.
horrible.
It is, but it's not really my joke. I just adapted it slightly from a picture being formatted to a
Oh, you
standard
want to
verbal
hear a
joke.
horrible joke?
Yes.
Why
I
is
love practical jokes.
trigonometry the most evil form of math?
Trigonometry?
Why?
Because it helps you find sin.
Oh,
Oh,
uh, yeah, that's
Wanna know what else is a joke?
this is why you are not going to. I don't know. Anyway, what other memories do we have of this great, funny podcast
Oh, I
of
remember
ours?
the time when Vic tried to brutally censor me. All I was doing was just reading the Women's Anti-Women's Suffrage League's positions on why women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Okay. Here's my unironic take on
And
women's
I'm
voting.
sitting here screaming at you. It's like, we're not even monetized yet, and you're already trying to ruin this for us.
Okay, here is my unironic take on women's suffrage. Women's suffrage, I don't even believe in regular suffrage. That is my unironic take. So don't worry about, accusing me of being a sexist or anything else, because I believe that men and women should be disenfranchised equally. The only voting that's really going to happen is a House of Lords that's going to be called when the king wants, or king really needs it, because the lords are going to be busy minding their own affairs on their own estates. Other than that, not really going to be much voting in the political sphere, at least in my ideal vision. Or and maybe some sort of House of Commons, which you can read about in my article for the first edition of the Cavalier, called "The Role of Parliament is the Death of the Kingdom." But see, I'd be a really good chill. So
You
this
can be
brutal
good show.
suppression. One day we will right the wrong, and I will be able to read the full list from women arguing why women shouldn't have the right to vote. I don't see how this is. I mean, I'm just saying, like the whole feminist movement. It's like the crowning jewel of the feminist movement of the 1920s was their ability to smoke. Like, I'm just saying, in hindsight, we should that was a really obvious punchline. I'm just saying, given, but I don't know what I'm saying. We're gonna get canceled, and I'm okay with that, to be honest with you,
We're always
because
getting canceled,
if we
but
haven't been, the more we get canceled, the stronger we become.
to the
Because let's be
point.
honest. Ow, I
To
just
to
hurt
the
myself.
point, Chuck. Yes, make sure to check out the Cavalier. We have another issue coming out this weekend, or by the time you're listening to this episode, it'll be out. Edition 2 of the Cavalier.
and then the link to that will be in the description, right?
Yes.
Right.
It will be on our website, on our Twitter, and on our everything else where we post things, which are all in the description.
Below. So, let's see. Where's some other fun memories that we can...
So my favorite memory of this show, we've had a lot of hosts, special contributors, guests. We have had a lot of people on this show from the time we have started recording. My favorite episode that we have done, and this is in competition with 98 other episodes. My favorite episode that we've ever done was, I think it was our first Christmas special.
Christmas carols over Discord.
Yes.
Oh, no.
It's as bad as it sounds.
Am
Well,
I
that's what.
hearing that we're going to do that again this year?
Isn't that the reason that the no Chuck singing on the podcast rule was instituted?
No. That's the
Yeah.
reason why the no two people singing in tandem rule.
That's why
remember-
I try to enforce a no singing in general on the podcast rule.
Okay, but we sing well, Will. You don't. We're just better. We have good, beautiful voices.
Okay, you and Chuck have good voices, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's true. Chuck and I guess, are just perfect
The rest
copy.
of us aren't necessarily blessed with good recorded voices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's let's be honest. You know, if we were to do a proper this is a side project of mine, and one day I really want to do this. Is that Monarchist of America records an album of monarchist music, like "The King Shall Enjoy His Own Again" and "The Wild Wigs of Wah" and all that. Do some English translations of like French counter-revolutionary songs, like "We are the king's robbers and his knights, and into the night we go." But the and Canto di San Fatisti, that one definitely needs an English dub. That is a side project of mine. But if I do that, at the very least, I'm going to put some sound padding in my room and buy a dedicated mic or a better mic. I ain't just going to get the Craig bot in here. No. I mean, probably I'm going to rent out an actual space to do that after taking some singing lessons. But Craig is not going to be involved in this process in any way, shape, or form, except maybe the announcement that you can buy it on compact cassette or vinyl.
And of course, our constant companion, Craig, is the recording bot that we have used to record every single episode of our podcast, bar one.
Thank Craig for being such a good bot and recording all of our nonsense.
We've had issues. Sometimes we've had issues with Craig. He's very reliable now,
but he's been good. He's tried.
Therefore, Chuck isn't the only one that's been on all 100 episodes.
The first episode we used something else, I think.
No. It wasn't the first episode. It was the Cologne episode from Zoom.
Yeah. The first Cologne episode was Zoom. So technically, Craig needs to get on my level.
Chuck, I will send you the Baptist shirt. Don't test me.
No, you won't.
You don't even know where I live. You just know I don't live in Bertucky. And now that all the people from Burton, Michigan are out to kill me. So Craig, let's see. When we were doing the really long episodes, like the 2-hour episodes, the 3-hour episodes, that's when Craig was kind of starting to give problems. It used to be a policy on this show for a couple of episodes that once we got to an hour, we would stop recording and then take 5 minutes and then start re-recording. That's how temperamental Craig used to be and possibly still could be if we started to record for very extended periods of time.
It's just our recording bot telling us it's time to shut up.
Which we're not going to. Craig, we appreciate you, but get a better wait. Is the Craig okay, it is kind of like the Craig is like a bear, I think, and
it's a bear.
his profile picture, the bear is centered, but the microphone is slightly to our right for some reason. It's not centered, and I don't know why.
So you can see his mouth, of course.
Whatever. He also
weird.
looks brain dead, which
who isn't
sometimes
on this get it?
Well, he sits here and listens to us go on every Friday for hours upon end. You'd be brain dead too, honestly.
In fairness,
I like how you just said that about all our viewers.
I said that about us too. We're the ones recording it.
True, but you also just called all of our viewers great. To the viewers, unlike Will, I love you.
There's
and
like
so does
one
Chuck.
brain
Oh.
cell.
But
Are you
Will
saying
thinks
I
your
hate
brain
our
dead.
viewers? Of course I don't hate our
That's
viewers.
it. We're posting a poll right after this. Who do you like better, Will and Vic or Chuck and Santiago?
It has actually been a while since we did a poll of who's everyone's favorite podcast host.
Yeah, we should do that for the fun polls in our Discord. Link in the description below.
You should
But
do that on Twitter too.
I will
Yeah,
do it in both.
I'll do it for the Twitter.
I will do it. I am the HR man. Haha.
Okay.
Right,
Well, anyway,
so
so what are Joe? You've been kind of silent. Do you have any fond podcast memories from listening to and such?
Joe has been our most loyal viewer.
He really has.
Besides
You've
Craig
been there
Bobby.
since episode 1, haven't you?
Oh, idea. Been too long.
How Joe became a monarchist is beyond me.
I don't know, sort of like
How does the average progressive liberal mind comprehend monarchism in a functional way?
what's his name?
Koshin?
The guy from New England, the horror
Koshin?
guy, Cthulhu
Not-
dude.
Oh, not Koshin? I don't know.
The guy who wrote like the air conditioning story and Mysterious Colors on like Any Scene on Earth.
H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah,
That's
Lovecraft. Apparently,
not...
he was a monarchist. He like was an atheist most of his life. So how he squared that circle, I have no idea. Although there's a chance he may have converted to Catholicism like before he died. There's like no evidence directly that he did, but he really was very interested in the Catholic faith. So hopefully he did, because you know. So yeah. So that's an interesting historical side note for you. So Joe, you didn't
I,
answer my question though. What are some of your memories?
Well, the Charles Colomb one was already said.
Well, you could say it again and just talk about your perspective on it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Charles Colomb being on the podcast. That one was pretty big. He's like
I
the...
remember. Oh, sorry for cutting you off, Joe.
It's alright, Willem.
I remember we couldn't believe it when we actually pulled that off, when Charles Coulomb actually responded like, this is actually happening.
We are... Well, and then we even did bigger, and we did the BBC interview.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's
King
almost as
Charles
if we
III.
haven't officially posted it yet, even though we should have. Ages
Because
ago.
copyright.
It's not an issue. It's our interview. It's our likeness.
We sanded over. We like got the 100 grit sandpaper. No, we handed over the rights. They were the ones doing the recording. They were the ones who edited it. And also, by the way, I'm going to publicly reprimand every single one who was on that interview. When you are doing an interview in the future that's going to be like uploaded and recorded and whatnot, if you are not talking on something like that, mute yourself. Mute yourself. Because every single no background noise is going to be picked up. And the poor guy in the editing bay who actually gets paid a salary and therefore actually has reason to go through and like do noise suppression and stuff, has to deal with every single one of those people. Editors of the world unite. I call for editor solidarity. We will take over all recording studios and force them to actually conform to our standards. You have a mute button. You have a magical button that will prevent, this that will prevent sounds like this from that's a jeweler screwdriver, by the way. From happening. Please, I beg you.
Chuck, why does it matter what made the sound when you dropped it?
I don't know. I'm just autistic. But please, I beg you, press the mute button. If it's going to be done for like a serious thing like the BBC or NPR, well, not NPR, but or please, I beg you, Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
right, so something that I'm going to actually ask this question, then I'm going to answer with my own thing. What is the one thing that you wish you could have talked about but couldn't talk about because of other stuff? And I'm going to answer that question. And Trad might know about this tradition. I'm not sure if he does. But every single year, except for COVID, Real Madrid, a soccer team in Spain, goes to the Madrid Cathedral with the trophies that they win in a particular year and presents them to Our Lady.
Interesting.
I'm surprised you didn't know about that.
I did not, actually.
Well, apparently it's not something that gets publicized all that often.
Well, it should, I mean, obviously.
Imagine if
There
our
was a picture today on Reddit Catholicism, and I will send the picture
Reddit.
into our Discord server of
Oh, and while you're doing that, Victor,
of Vinicius Jr. meeting with the Archbishop Emeritus of Madrid.
well, while
My
you're doing that, if I
okay.
may,
Yes.
Go ahead.
we do have a pressing question that we should address this week since this is kind of the thing this week. Gentlemen, one by one,
Mhm.
how often do you think about Rome?
In order, Vic.
I think about Rome maybe once a week.
On Roman Barbarian. Joe.
I never think about Rome.
Very on Roman Barbarian.
Turn in your bro card. You are no longer one of the guys.
Flubba.
Yes. Probably. I wouldn't say every day, but most days, like a good 90% of them. There's another. There's another old nation that I think of about a lot more. That I will not say for my own safety.
Yeah, good choice.
The Grand Duchy of Mauritania? No. Okay, me. Well, that's a good question, Self. I would say that I think it's probably a legitimate thing to say that Rome crosses my mind every day, and if not every single day. I mean, technically, it always kind of crosses my mind when I pray for the Pope because the Pope is the Bishop of Rome. But we're not going to count that technicality. But but yeah, I think it's fair to say that Rome crossed, especially with all the memes that are posted on the website formerly known as Twitter. I
It
don't
is
get it.
Twitter fresh.
Yeah, it's the website formerly known as Twitter trend, I guess. Yeah. The the guy who was murdered during the Spanish Civil War.
Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera?
Yeah, sorry, I can't actually pronounce his name. Okay. You.
What about him?
No, you. Like
Me?
I associate your last name with his.
Yeah, there's kind of a point to that. But so sorry, what's the point?
How often do you think of Rome?
Oh, right. Sorry, I didn't realize the
I'm
question had
sorry.
gotten to me. No, no, no,
I
no,
do
no,
things
no,
very poorly here.
no, no,
How
no. You're
often do
fine.
you do Rome?
I was half paying attention. Every waking moment. Every waking moment. My eyes are set on the city of the heart's desire.
Just
Technically, that's
remember, YouTube
Constantinople.
podcasts are
No,
fading. The glory
no.
of Rome.
Constantinople is the city of the world's desire. Rome is the city of my heart's desire.
Just remember,
Learn the
YouTube
difference.
podcasts are fading. The glory of Rome is forever. But Will, now down to you. Are you a glorious citizen of the empire? Because technically, well, baptized
Now,
Catholics at any rate
if
are.
we're talking about Rome, I have to ask which Rome. Are all Romes valid or only specific Romes?
The actual legitimate Rome, so like Rome 1.0, Roman Empire, East and West, Holy Roman Empire, let's just
Mark, the Holy
Byzantium.
Roman Empire was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire.
You know what? No. Voltaire is a whiny crybaby. Okay, he is whiny crybaby. He
To
is very
quote-
sad. Okay, he is
quote
not a
our
good
favorite-
philosopher.
To quote our favorite composer, the ungodly arch villain Voltaire has died like a dog. And again,
Which
greatest
composer
insult.
was that?
It was an empire because it was ruled by an emperor, which is the most basic definition of
Okay,
empire.
but the point is, I think about Rome probably once every few hours. Particularly the Eastern Roman Empire, because for some reason I have a really, really big thing with Byzantium, and I quite don't understand why.
And yet
Byzantium's
you're
cool.
not Orthodox.
Well, don't worry. We'll make you fine if you want to be. We'll make you Catholic. You can be Eastern Catholic. Nothing would make us happier. But no. But I must smash you on this whole Voltaire thing. Like
Oh, you're going to smash?
Hulk smash. Okay.
Yeah, Joe's dead.
Yeah. Unfortunately. I mean, one of us would go over to his house to check on him, but like, none of us are going to drive to California. Wait. Wait. Hold on. Trad, you're west of the Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Last I
Oh,
checked,
I'm
Nebraska.
sorry, Trad, but we are going to have to eradicate both you and Joe. Long-standing podcast policy, so long-standing I completely forgot about it until I remember Joe was west of the Mississippi, is that all people west of the Mississippi are legally subhuman and shall be executed.
Bro! No, you're Easterners, bro.
Wait, Charles,
No.
You're Easterners.
What does that
I'm
mean
joking.
about the Chancellor?
Okay, yeah, he's west of the Mississippi, but he's also north of the Missouri, so I think that cancels out.
Yeah,
I
that
think that was
cancels out.
part of some
But
type of
Anyway,
amendment.
anyways, my point being, I completely forgot my point. My point derailed into the valley.
yes. So, and another one of the things that we have done that I have been very, very fond of is when serious news happens, we take it very seriously. We did a whole tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and it went off very, very well, and I'm honestly surprised that it didn't go viral.
Well, it is what it is. Although I do remember right before, and you see, this is how you know we are not in collusion with the Russians, as someone may be bound to claim at some point. Because we had planned, the week that Putin did the thing, we had planned a fun episode. I can't remember what topics we had scheduled, but it was going to be a fun episode. And then Putin, it was what, Tuesday or Thursday local time, he just decides, you know what? I'm going to invade the Ukraine today. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, at least give us the time for the fun episode. And then people got really upset that I named the episode Russia Wrecked Our Party. It's like, although it actually is social commentary, considering the Ukraine is basically our puppet. Well, it's not really our puppet state because they keep, shilling for money and we keep giving it to them for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of like Israel. It's a very abusive relationship, but not abusive in the way that that you think it would
I
be.
mean, America doesn't have puppets. We're just the free world sugar daddy.
Unfortunately,
Will
that's
it
true.
remain that
Please
way?
never use those words to describe this nation again.
Listen,
Am
your
I wrong
discretion is
though?
advised.
It's
I don't
not
care if
wrong,
you
but at the
Are.
same time, we don't.
I don't care if you're right, wrong, indifferent, or Samuel. Please never use those words to describe this nation again.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do a lightning round. And for those of you who don't know what a lightning round is, Charles will explain what it is to you.
All right. So, how this is going to work? I'm DJ Charles. How this is going to work is that Victor here is going to give us a question, and then each person is going to have to answer that question really quick. We're going to go down the line from Joe to Bubba to Marcel to Santiago. Guy.
Rivera.
Riviera.
Rivera.
To Mr. Rivera, and then to Mr. Stout over there. And you're going to have to answer lightning quick, but we're going to try to stay in order this time. So, if Mr. Smith, if you could take us away with this question, let's go. Or lightning round, let's do it.
Right. Washington or Cartier?
Washington.
Washington, because I don't know the other guy.
Ditto.
Washington.
Washington. Who's the
For
other
those of you
guy?
who don't know, Cartier was one of the two people that was instrumental in the, I suppose, founding of the Dominion of Canada in its current state.
Oh yeah, no, ew.
Nobody cares about Canadian history.
We hate well, except for all the war crimes they committed during World War II.
Like,
Or
with the exception of Canadian monarchists, Canadian Republicans are literally worse than American Republicans. American Republicans is kind of like the default, so it's understandable. Canadian Republicans, you have to choose to be this way, and that is absolutely disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourselves and cry yourself to sleep tonight.
JJ McCullough.
Yeah, him too. I actually kind of like watching his channel until I found out he was a Republican.
I know he's a Republican, but I still
Okay,
watch.
everyone.
Okay.
Next one.
War.
Right. Oswald Mosley
Ooh.
or the guy in charge of Vichy, France?
Pétain?
Oh, Pétain.
Baton.
Pétain.
Yeah.
Baton.
Bubba.
Probably Mosley. Just know more about
Chuck?
him.
Pétain only because he was like an actual World War One hero, and also he did so Vichy France was actually it wasn't a Nazi puppet state completely at the start. Like, it actually did have a lot of control over its affairs, and then like a lot of actual reactionary cool dudes were put in charge. But then as the Nazis got more and more assertive, they sort of made Pétain switch to like basically put a bunch of old French socialists in positions of power. So Pétain, kind of a complicated figure, but let's just say, I don't know. At least he wasn't Mosley, where he's like Mosley's wife was, talking about when she and her husband met Hitler, and she went, "He was a perfect dear." Okay, Santiago Rivera.
Yay! You got his name right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Golf clap.
I'd have to say, honestly, Mosley. Pétain was just here's the thing. Pétain was someone who was basically acquitting to the bigger power in his nation at the time, which was the Nazis, right? He was going along with whatever was safe. He was a coward. Mosley at least challenged the liberal democratic structure of the British government.
I will actually have to counter what Santiago said and say Pétain, because Pétain was only being pragmatic because he knew that the Nazis would absolutely demolish France if France refused to surrender. And knowing what happened to Warsaw, Paris might not be standing today if he didn't. Whereas Mosley watched the Nazis drop bombs from the sky and still simped Hitler. And I have no respect for that.
Here's the thing. And I'm going to counter that, because after World War II began and the Blitz began and Hitler began bombing Britain, he stopped supporting Hitler. Like, he supported Hitler before World War II began, and he was very anti-war because he could see the tides. And he was openly against the war, which that's a good thing. Like, war is not a fun thing to do, and World War II is one of the worst. But the other thing is that what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, he didn't support Hitler after the bombings, and he was rather neutral actually. And considering that the British did their own share of war crimes.
Next one.
Vic, that question was good. Another.
Collins or De Valera?
Who?
Or David Vera?
Collins, Michael Collins.
Oh.
Who's
Okay,
Michael
okay. I didn't
Collins?
hear it. So yeah, the Irish dude. Mhm. Or De Rivera, the guy tragedy.
Oh. No, I know no, Michael Collins, right. He was the Irish Republican general.
I
Okay, well,
think they
Joe.
were both IRA members. Am I
Michael
right?
Collins? Yeah, Michael Collins was the general of the Irish Republican
Dave
Army.
Rivera was in the IRA too, wasn't he?
Oh.
No.
No,
Well,
I'm not. I'm
Spanish.
not talking. I'm not talking about Primo de Rivera. I'm talking about De Valera.
Dave
Dave.
Valera. Oh yeah, he
That's-
was in the IRA.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Primo de Rivera. No, he wasn't in the IRA. All right, Joe.
I'll go with
Who?
Colin.
Collins.
Michael Collins. Bubba.
Pass. I know nothing about either of the two.
Chuck.
I guess Collins. I don't really know about the other guy, but I know Collins. I mean, like, Republic kind of cringed, but at least he tried to make the Irish Republic like actually Catholic until that started to fall apart. America and its consequences have been a disaster for the Irish people.
Yeah.
Trad.
Collins. Will.
I have to give it to Collins because Collins actually tried to keep the peace where Valera got mad, threw a fit, and caused even more death and destruction because he didn't get his way. Just to basically lose the Irish Civil War and end up having to form the Republic of Ireland the way Collins originally wanted to do it anyways.
By the way, I don't know if you've ever looked into like the two big parties in Ireland, right? Like the two big conservative parties. Literally, they both broke off. Like you had they both broke off of the original IRA, which was led by Collins, and Day, whatever, I forget his name right now.
Valera.
Dave Valera started his own thing, which was more secular right wing, and then
Ew.
someone else started one that was more religiously right wing, like more Catholic. And then they started fighting each other about the treaty and if they were pro treaty or anti treaty. And then they both became cringe neoliberal factions who get basically gimped by Sinn Fein every election.
Well, Sinn Féin, if I remember correctly, in Republic of Ireland proper, isn't really a thing. It's mainly a thing in Northern Ireland because Sinn Féin is just the Irish Nationalist Party.
No, Sinn Fein is in Ireland. They're definitely a party in Ireland.
Hmm.
They're in both, but yeah, Sinn Fein is a left wing nationalist. So they're left wing secularist nationalists, which is really weird to have a left wing secular nationalist. And that's one of the things about Ireland is that their politics don't really make sense as to the rest of the world. But like seriously, it's left wing nationalists versus like right wing globalists. It's what happens?
There's a very easy solution.
Bomb Ireland into the ocean.
Well, the easiest solution is just to let our great James come over and baffle Prince Hanover. With hearts and hands and loyal bands will welcome him at Dover. Anyways,
The Jacobites aren't coming back. Give
Yes,
up
they are.
on
Yes, they are. They will
The
come back in
Windsors are the
glory.
legitimate royal
No, they
family
are
of
not.
Britain.
No, they're not.
All
silence,
right,
liberal. Okay, next
let's go to
question.
the next one. Let's go to the next one. So, Robert the Bruce or Alfred the Great.
Right.
Joe.
Once again, Robert the Bruce or Alfred the Great?
Go with Robert.
Bubba.
I don't know. You guys are saying people I don't know much about. I would say Alfred the Great though, from what I know.
Charles.
This might surprise you, but I am an Anglo, so I guess Alfred.
I'm gonna say Robert the Bruce. Will.
I gotta go with Robert the Bruce too. You have to have some big kahunas if you're gonna stand up to a nation twice your size and still pull it off.
Well, and plus, so have you guys ever heard of unofficial movie trilogies, or I guess I don't know what the term for two movies, but um a sequel, I
Sequels.
guess,
But
an
yeah.
unofficial sequel. Well, I was trying to think of an alogy thing, but anyway, one of the best unofficial film sequels is to go watch Braveheart, and then immediately after watch the Chris Pine, Robert the Bruce movie, because they basically happen like all of Braveheart happens, and then William Wallace dies, and then the Robert the Bruce movie starts with seeing William Wallace's corpse, and then it starts that whole Scottish War of Independence. Either way, really good movies. Watch them both, and we love Mel Gibson.
Yes, Mel. Okay, this is related to Mel Gibson, actually. Braveheart or Passion of the Christ?
Oh, Gibson movies. All right,
What's the question
Joe.
again? I was getting a glass of water.
All
Joe.
right, Will. What do you? So the question is, and we'll get to you here in a sec, but just to restate the question: Braveheart or Passion of the Christ? Joe.
Freedom!
Good to know. Chuck.
I'm gonna have to say Braveheart because, like I said before, I don't like film adaptations of biblical stories because you're always gonna get something wrong. So don't do it.
Generally, so my turn next. Generally, I agree with you on that, but I think Passion of the Christ is one of the very few exceptions to the rule that biblical movies are bad. It is it and the Gospel of John, which is on YouTube. Those are like the glorious kind of break from the mold of biblical movies. They're amazing. I love The Passion. Plus, it's a great tool for whenever you in your mind start to trivialize the suffering on the cross. It's a great movie to remind you that it's not fun. All right. Wait. Bubba just moved up. Bubba,
I came back, sorry. Passion of the Christ.
good choice. Will.
It's hard to say because I love them both, but they're two very different movies, so comparing between the two is difficult.
True, but they have
See,
a
my choice is
bomb
easy because I've
director.
only seen one of them.
Oh, well, that explains it. No, I will say Mel Gibson's been an amazing director and always has been.
When will he direct a movie about the Liberty incident? I kind of want to know. Come on, it has to happen. I will personally start that Kickstarter if he will agree to do it if he raises the money. I want a movie about the Liberty incident directed by Mel Gibson, and you can't stop me. I mean, the Israeli government may, but that's a different story.
Next question.
Yeah.
And this might be a little controversial, so Edward Habsburg
Oh no.
or Franz of Bavaria?
You just put Chuck in such a bad position. Joe, go first.
It's so Jover.
Joe,
Anyways.
would you like?
Edward.
Bubba,
Edward Hasburg.
Chuck.
I'm a loyal son of the king, servant of the king. That doesn't mean that I had to like him. I had to love him as my king. That doesn't mean I had to like him. Edward Habsburg.
Personally, Eduard Habsburg, and for the sole reason that Franz Duke of Bavaria is an old man, and Eduard
He's one of
Eduard.
us.
Well, not only is he one of us, he was on Twitter arguing with an artist because they drew an anime girl in the regalia of I think it was Blessed Carl or some late
It
Austrian
was
emperor, and and
it was
and and he said, and he was yelling, he was basically saying that women do not wear the neck ornament of the Order of the Golden Fleece,
I
and
just
just
posted
and
it.
he also was like talking about movies that were coming out, and like he's truly one of us. If we have a Habsburg emperor or king in our future, I hope it's him. He's so funny.
I
Um,
have to I have to say Edward too because I love the idea of Weeb Habsburg Emperor.
Wait.
It's so
He's
Before we can,
one of my
well,
people.
before we can have an Edward 2, we have to have an Edward 1.
Edward.
oh,
It's so funny that he's discussing the whether or not you could put the golden fleece on a woman. It's great.
They turned Joseph the First into an anime girl, and he's arguing about the Golden Fleece. It's beautiful.
okay,
It's so
guys. I have terrible news to report to you.
Uh-oh.
This is not really breaking, but and this actually is terrible. Will, don't cuss me out. Okay. Netflix is apparently doing a TV series of the Chronicles of Narnia. The same Netflix who has like over like 95% liberal employees, like
I
who
was about to say, is this about to turn into the Chronicles of like Socialistia? Like
I,
you know
it's a
what
it's an analogy for the Bible. This entire no, an allegory for the Bible. The Chronicles of Narnia is basically just the Bible, except as a children's
well,
story. It
and
it
I
read the ending. Go to the ending of the last battle. Read like the last few paragraphs and tell me I'm wrong.
I was
I
about to
wasn't allowed to
say,
read
I
Narnia.
feel like if they make it, they're gonna leave out the teeny weeny little plot detail, that the slight little minusculely important detail that the lion is not just an allegory for, but is literally Jesus Christ.
How do you?
All right.
No,
Next.
no, no.
Go
Hold on,
ahead.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Sorry. I had to rant just a little bit more,
Okay,
Vic.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm really sorry. It's like okay. Firstly, how are you going to do this? Are you going to have like 7 series? It's 7 books, right? In the Chronicles. Like, is that how you're going to do it? I don't really know. But whatever you're going to do, I, I don't know. I kind of don't want to. Like Disney made like 3 film adaptations. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The one I never watched all the way through, and the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Disgusting.
Um, like the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, not really that great. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, pretty good. But like, I don't trust anyone. I literally do not trust anyone in Hollywood right now, except Mel Gibson, to make to make an adaptation of the Chronicles of Narnia. Like, at least the original was back when Disney was still somewhat patriotic. Anyways, like and somewhat wholesome and whatnot, and they could actually do like a nice, Christian, story like that. This is just terrible. Just stop it. Okay, sorry, Vic.
Okay. Louis the Duke of Anjou, or whoever the Carlos claimant is right now.
The Carlos claimant. So, um, for simplicity of this, because I know who's going to win if we go with technically the main line. Technically, the mainline successor is the son of Carlos Hugo, who was a socialist, or not just a socialist, a Titoist, and so is his son. The other one is Carlos Hugo's brother, Sixto Enrique. So we'll go with Sixto Enrique. So Louis d'Anjou or Sixto Enrique.
All right, that will be it. Louis Duke of Anjou or Dom Sixto Enrique.
What is this for?
The
We're
throne
It's
just
of
a lightning round.
yeah, we're
I
just
know
picking
it's the
people.
lightning round, but
We just pick one. Which do you like better?
I'll go with neither because I don't know what this is for.
Again, it's just like which. It's just an either or kind of thing. Like, which do you prefer?
He probably doesn't even know who they are.
Oh, yeah, that's
Louis
fair.
Duke of Anjou is one of the three pretenders of France, and Dom Sixto Enrique is the more accepted Carlist claimant among the Carlists.
Oh, so this is Pretenders.
Yeah, though technically, and this might be useful information, Louis Anjou is also a Carlist pretender. Like he doesn't actually claim anything to it, but he does. He has the ability to be one just based on how closely related to the Spanish royal family he is. Which is just an interesting thing to throw in there. Anyway, so we'll call Joe a skip then. Bubba.
Sixto.
All right. Chuck.
long live the Carlist.
So Sixto Enrique.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like them both equally.
Cop out.
But I'm gonna have to go with no. Honestly, I'm gonna actually have to go with Louis Duc d'Anjou. Simply for the reason that Sixto Enrique is very old and very much not
He's not
doing
one of
anything.
us.
He's not even trying to be the Carlos claimant right now because he recognizes that even if he tried, he wouldn't get anywhere within even the Carlist communion. So, which by the way, the modern Carlist party is a bunch of socialists, and you shouldn't follow them.
Oof. They will.
I don't have an opinion because I don't know enough about the Carlists.
All right, so that is a push. All right, next one. Frederick Barbarossa or Hannibal Lecter?
Ooh, that's a random one.
I'm curious why there's a comparison between the two. Did
Honestly,
Frederick,
Sure, you can figure that out.
did Frederick Barbarossa eat people?
oh,
he
it's
ate
because
part of
they're
Europe.
Freddy. It's because they're both named Freddy. I get it. I see what he's doing. They're both Freddys.
Hannibal's name is Friedrich.
Oh wait,
Lecter.
no, I thought we were. Sorry, I'm dumb. I thought he was doing Freddy from Krueger. Yeah, I don't know why my mind thought that. What is the connection?
I thought they
Explain.
were both generals.
No,
Hannibal Lecter, like
Hannibal Lecter?
the
That's the
cannibal.
yeah, no, that
Hannibal the cannibal.
yeah, Hannibal
Oh,
Lecter
he's thinking of Hannibal.
Barca. Yeah, he's thinking of Barca.
Yeah, okay, yes, I'm thinking of Hannibal Barker. Apologies.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, no. Hannibal Lecter's from a horror film, my friend.
Oh,
Alright, so
sorry.
Hannibal
This is an
Barca.
AU I kind of want to live in, not live in, but see.
Anyway, Hannibal Barca or Frederick Barbarossa?
Hannibal.
Bubba.
I've never heard of either of these two people.
What is
So that's
with
the
you?
pass.
Hannibal's the one who crossed. Unless I'm thinking of another guy entirely. Hannibal's the guy who crossed the Alps with a bunch of elephants and tried to and almost beat up Rome
Correct.
before Rome was like, "Nah, you ain't
Yeah,
gonna do that."
he kind of did whoop us. Us being Rome. And Frederick Barbarossa he was the Holy Roman Emperor, and um, he was leading them into the Third Crusade, but then he drowned.
Oh yeah, he
Uh,
drowned in the river because his armor was too heavy.
That is correct.
That's gotta be the
well, I'm
crusade. That's gotta be the medieval equivalent of dying on a toilet, honestly.
No,
I like elephants, so I'm gonna go with Barbarossa.
Free Barbarossa because crusades are
mean
always fun and justified.
I know what I
yeah.
said. I know what I said, Santiago.
Okay. And then Will, did you give yours?
Hannibal, because while Frederick Barbarossa might be a cool dude, he's not marching elephants from Spain through the Alps and then engaging in a war against Rome without reinforcements for 10 years in Italy. Cool.
I'm gonna have to
Right.
personally. I
Next,
didn't
all
even.
right. This will
Oh,
be our
oh!
final.
Vic didn't even let me go. What is
Oh,
this,
sorry, Trad. Go ahead. I
bro?
thought you did, bro.
Okay,
I thought you went. I thought you went.
no. Okay, fine. I'll just leave if you don't like me. You just had to
Oof.
ask. I mean, bro. No. I'd have to go with Hannibal.
All right.
Wow, I feel
Cool.
betrayed.
All
Yeah.
right.
You and everyone else.
All right. Hannibal Lecter or Dolores Umbridge?
See, that makes more sense. And all right, Joe.
Lecter.
Pass.
Pacific Islanders.
What?
I am
Any?
altering. I am altering the question. Pray I don't alter it further.
No. It was Lecter and whom?
Dolores
Dolores
Umbridge.
Umbridge. She was crazy.
Lecter, because Lecter actually had redeemable qualities because he was a licensed psychiatrist. Dolores Umbridge is just an awful human being who honestly deserved to die.
Wow.
I don't even know who she is, so
We
Harry
will
Potter.
educate you off air, Chuck.
there's gonna be a lot of removes if you do it on air.
Yes. I
Okay.
imagine so. Anyway, that I believe will about wrap it up for episode 100.
Woo!
Episode
And
1, 2. Wait, 100 bottles of MM on the wall. 100 bottles of MM. Take one down. No, we're not doing
Yeah.
don't
Well,
do that.
before we take this one out, I also just pinged Edward Habsburg on Twitter. Not really pinged, but yeah, I mentioned him on Twitter. If he responds to me, I'm going to be very, very happy.
it. Okay.
We'll see.
So it is time for a 100th episode announcement. Unfortunately, Trad, you're not Trad. Will, you have cost us something on this
How many
100th
did I
episode.
do? How many?
Uh, you know, it would be too much effort to delete that thing. So, two. There's two. I don't remember the second one. It's 25 minutes. I can't remember, but there are two. Will's admittedly semi-justified thing, and then
Outbreak.
25. But really, I kind of feel sad. So we have a lot to talk about. No, I'm joking. I do want to say though, the show it's mean something to me. Right now we're sitting at 464 subscribers on YouTube. And if we have helped, I kind of help with Blubba here, but if we have helped advance the cause of monarchism at least a little bit in the United States, and if we were to get Jeffrey Epstein tomorrow, all of us, then or Ludwig II, seconded, then it'd be worth it, I guess, because we are, and that's not an invitation, FBI. That's not an invitation,
I
but
feel very
we,
happy.
except Joe. Don't kill Joe, please. But it's if we can help just a little bit advance the cause of monarchism, then it's worth it. And we have done that a little bit, I think. And at the very least, we've left a lot of examples to a future generation of monarchists of what not to do. while recording a podcast.
Listen.
So
Hey, we've come a long way from our early episodes. We should be proud of ourselves.
we have. Honestly, I kind of want to do the original background, but I don't have the original cockade, so I guess we can't do that.
I sent it to you.
No, the original background, which was just a white background with a cockade.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we have that anymore, unfortunately. But so I'm gonna just no, we're not gonna dispense with it. If you would like to join us live for Monarchist Minute, then you can follow us down to that Discord link in the
In the
description below.
description below.
If you would like to join the army of 4,000 of us that we somehow have on the website formerly known as Twitter, thanks in very small part to me, like literally next to nothing, but mainly to Will and Rivera.
Yes, you got it.
Okay, Rivera. Then you can join that army. Link in the description below. If you would like to see our other incredible offerings, then you can do that. Link in the description below. And now, Will, a lot of us have done this part of the program, and it is really the most important part of the program. But right now, this is Will's job. Take us away.
Please bow your heads. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
Amen.
Amen. Please, Lord, thank you for being with us these past 100 episodes. Thank you for the bonds of friendship and fellowship we have made when making this podcast and making this organization happen. And bless us and help us to grow so that there may be a 200th episode special. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And
Amen.
Vic, since you were the one to actually coin this phrase originally, you want to say it?
Wait, sure. And we will say goodbye to you. We will see you in 2 weeks. And may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.